Good evening, everyone. I hope you had a really good weekend and that you're feeling excited about the week ahead. It was a new normal for a lot of us the past few weeks, including myself, with lots of adjustments. And I have some ideas about how to go about things differently going forward as we go into week 2 of school and work at home. For me, it's for my husband and I, and that's been a challenge, and it's going to be a challenge looking at my work schedule ahead. And so I have some ideas of things I want to try, and I want to share them with you because I think they might help you when you tackle doing school at home with your children. Again, I'll introduce myself. My name is Amber Blakes. I am the creator of a Lampstand blog. The hashtag is M515, and it comes from Matthew 5:15. Take a look at that when you get a chance and try to do what it says. That's the purpose of what we're doing here. So, 2 tips today to help you school at home. I was introduced to the concept of the morning meeting a few years ago, many years ago actually, and then again in my current assignment as a literacy coach at the school that I work in. It is a school that uses the responsive classroom approach, and that means that every day we start our day in every classroom with a morning meeting, and it really is a good way to start the day. How you start the day is really important, and there's no reason why you can't do a morning meeting at home. So this is what it would look like. A morning meeting has 4 components: a greeting, share time, a group activity, and a message from the teacher. So when you start tomorrow morning with your littles or bigs, do a version of the morning meeting that would look right for you. Remember from the first video that we did, 15 minutes tops. The greeting is where you greet each other by name, and it would sound something like good morning, the name of your child, good morning mom, good morning dad. It's nice to just have a moment where you are stopping to actually say good morning. I have had plenty of mornings where I've started my day and I thought about what to wear, what to eat, where we had to go, and I realized after I'd been up for a while, I never even told my spouse or my son good morning and acknowledged them. And that's a nice thing to do, and it's a nice way to start the day. The second step to a morning meeting is to have a share time, and this is where each person gets a moment or two to share what's going on with them at that moment that's important to them. You can have a specific question you ask, or you can just let them share whatever's on their heart or mind that they want to get off their chest, so that they will have a productive day. And then you follow up their share time with an encouraging comment or a question. You want to include yourself. Make sure that you tell them what's important for you that day, and allow them a chance to say what's important for them. For example, you might have a child who says, I want to watch PJ Masks today and I don't want to miss my show. And you can ask them questions about that. You may have a child tell you that they miss their friends, that they miss their teacher. That is something worth hearing and talking to them about and asking them questions about. And you can also share with them how important it is for you to get a certain task done, to get something accomplished. But take some time to share. And remember, this isn't long. The greeting should be about 1 minute. The share time can be about 5 minutes, and you're moving on to a group activity. Now, a group activity can be a variety of things, but it has to be something where you guys work together in a group. So it might be a poem you recite or that you share and they recite with you, affirmations, a dance that you learn. I've seen a lot of parents making TikTok videos with their students, and I think that is adorable. I keep saying with your students, with your children, who are kind of like your students, but they're still ours, at least for now. You can learn a new song, or you can play a quick game. I know a lot of people have been posting really funny memes and posts about the rules to Uno, so that would be a cool thing, is to play a round of Uno. And your group activity should probably take no more than 5 minutes as well. And you want to end the morning meeting with a message from the teacher. So it can be written. In most classrooms it's written down, but you may not have that kind of setting in your home. But the message from the teacher, or in this case the message from the parent, would be what the focus is for that day. And keep in mind, the focus is up to you. So if you have decided the focus is going to be to complete schoolwork, that's great. But this might be a day where the focus is on one of those subjects and not the other. Or the focus might be something you want them to learn or do that day. I've seen a lot of parents taking advantage of this time to show their students or their children how to cook, how to garden, how to do certain chores. They've been reading certain books. They've been doing different engineering projects, listening to different YouTube channels. So you set the goal and tell them what the goal is for the day. And in 15 minutes, you have greeted your children. You have shared with them what's important to you, and they have shared with you what's important to them. And you guys have talked to each other and asked questions of each other about those things. You did a group activity to kind of get the sense of community going, and you have ended the morning meeting with your message to them about what you want to focus on that day. It's a powerful 15 minutes. I'm going to post in the comments to this video a website that recaps what I just showed you about the morning meeting. I think it's a great idea. I think it would be a great tip, and it's worth a try. The second tip I want to share with you is about listening. I have a hard time with this with my own child, and what I have learned over the years with working with a lot of students is that we feel like our children don't always listen to us when we tell them to do something because they either don't do what we tell them to do or they do it wrong. But in actuality, there's a lot of times instances where they have not heard us correctly. The language that you give out and the language that they receive in are different, and sometimes very different. So I want you to focus on, when you tell your children to do something, to start with one, no more than 2 directions at a time. If they're very little, 1, and that when I say very little, I would say pre-K, kindergarten, some first graders, 1 direction at a time. And in first grade and going older, you should be able to get to 2 directions at a time. But even students that go up into high school, you don't want to get that far because they start to lose what you've said, and they've only heard the first thing you've said or the last thing you've said, and they haven't heard anything or they haven't heard anything you've said, and so you don't get a lot accomplished. So the second tip is give your children one to 2 directions at a time, no more than 2, and then ask them to repeat back to you what you said. This is eye-opening because a lot of times they thought they've heard you and you realize that they haven't. So I want to make sure that you guys know to only try 1 to 2 directions at a time and ask them to repeat back to you what you said. Clarify, make corrections, and then let them go forth and be great. So next week, going forward, try the morning meeting. Try only giving them 1 or 2 directions at a time, letting them repeat back to you what you've said to make sure they've heard what you've said, because a lot of times they're not doing what you said because they either didn't hear or didn't understand. And that's a developmental thing that comes with practice. It's sort of like muscle memory. It's something that the body learns to do with time and practice. So go ahead and try those 2 things. I'm not going to keep you long. If you want some other tips, so far these are I did 4, then 3. So these are the 8th and the 9th tips that I've left with you guys this past week about how to be more successful when it comes to doing school at home. Check out the last 2 videos that I posted in the Lampstand format or platform, my blog platform, and hopefully something that I've shared will help. Have a great night, and I'll be back on later this week with a few other things to share.